All right, so PlayStation Showcase was it was yesterday, right? Today's September 10th, so yesterday September 9th. That was PlayStation Showcase, and we got a lot of good games, a lot of good releases.
I agree.
So the first one was Knights of the Old Republic remake, and what do you think of that?
Oh, the Star Wars one?
Yeah.
I never cared for Star Wars, but I know my girl used to play the old one back in the day. She loved it. So
which one was it? Battlefield?
No, it's a remake. So it used to be an old.
Oh,
game.
the original Knights of. Okay.
I forgot it was for PC, Xbox, or something like that. It used to be on consoles, but it's like a It's like an MMO almost.
Okay.
I don't care for those, but people loved it and they grew up on it.
Yeah. People proclaim this as the greatest Star Wars game ever created. Not the remake, that's yet to be seen, but the original. So again, I'm with Leo on this one. I don't know too much about Star Wars lore and the video games, so I can't really chime in too much. But all I can say is that from the looks of it, I have played what was it called? The Star Wars Revenge of the Sith PS2 game.
I just know about the Battlefronts.
And those. Well, this is more and the latest one. What's it called? Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah. So those look great. The concept of them looks great. I just haven't been able to dwell into them, so I can't chime in too much. But I'm hoping it does well. As a remake of 20 years ago, almost.
Yeah. I think it's. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I just don't really care for it. I always liked the story from the movies, but I mean, if people really want to play it, go for it, man. Good for them,
I mean, Alexis, you're a big Star Wars fan. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm hoping that so long as they they incorporate the right type of gameplay, it'll be more interesting in and of itself. For example, when Jedi: The Fallen Order came out, the Fallen Order game that came out a couple of years ago, a lot of people had their they had their reservations about it because EA were the developers for that, right?
Wow.
And just in terms of gameplay, EA hasn't really had the best track record, with video games and stuff. But I mean, they released it, and guys, it's one of the most immersive and most entertaining Star Wars games of all time. You get to actually play as a Jedi. You get to actually use all these different the abilities, and it's. I mean, in my opinion, that's one of that's the kind of experience that I'm looking for, and I'm hoping that what was it called? This game?
Knights of the
Old Republic is able to emulate.
Yeah.
And if not, I mean, I never played the original Knights of the Old Republic. Unfortunately, I wasn't fortunate enough to have a system that ran it, when it was first out. But it was definitely a game that piqued my interest, and I'm hoping that when this one comes out, I'll be able to actually play the remake. But I'm hoping that they'll also be able to build on it, improve it, as opposed to what it was before.
I mean, the fact that is there going to be an exclusive to PS5?
I don't think so, man. I think it'll be a Tommy exclusive, but who knows? I mean, Sony has deep pockets,
That is true.
They are the king of exclusives when it comes to consoles. So
but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. What about Gran Turismo 7? What do you think about that?
I know it's a real life simulator. It's great for people who are trying to learn how to drive or trying to get into NASCAR or whatever. But I've never been one to be too indulged into Gran Turismo. I like more of those street racing games like Need for Speed. Or Midnight Club back in the day. Those are more appealed more to my taste. But I mean, it is a trademark flagship exclusive of Sony's since I think the PS1 had Gran Turismo. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it goes way back. So it makes sense for them to keep that in the line of exclusives for their latest console.
Yeah, I used to play the ones on the PlayStation. The first one, I forgot what the name was. It the second one or first one? But I don't really care for it. But looking back, it was fun. It's it's a car simulator. You just drive around.
I was more of a Need for Speed person.
Yeah. It's realistic, yeah.
But it's really realistic. If you're not into cars, you probably won't like it. But I personally wouldn't go out and buy it tomorrow. But I grew up with it, so I kind of feel some sort of.
Yeah, it's very realistic because people look into it and they're like, oh, it's got Lambos and stuff, and But yeah, but these are realistic. This is realistic driving. It's not fabricated the way it is in Need for Speed, where you can just turn a corner and not get hit. And it feels heavy to steer. It feels heavy to handle, just like it would be if you're actually driving a car. If that's not your cup of tea, you're not going to like it. But I feel like the Gran Turismo name has been out of the game for a while. But I'm not trying to shun it by saying it shouldn't exist at all. But it's not something I'm personally looking forward to.
Do you think they'll have Teslas in it?
I hope so, man.
I don't think they ever had a Tesla. It's weird.
That's a great idea. EVs are taking over in real life, so if this is a real life simulator, might as well have one. Yep. But I've never seen a Tesla on the racetrack either. Like, not really. Just for showboating. So.
Yeah. But hey, it'll be a real pretty game, though.
What do you think, Alexis?
Well, I mean, I guess I really want to come back to your point of you saying like how it really feels like a real life simulator. I mean, and there's an appeal to that, right? I mean, there are people that are actually really interested in and some of these games actually work for a lot more than just entertainment purposes. You know, like I mean, there are some like companies that actually use this as like maybe like a trying to kind of a training exercise, but then at the same time, there's definitely something to say about the detail that goes into designing these games. I mean, personally, I grew up with Need for Speed Underground. Like, that was one of my favorite games, like racing games of all time.
Again, one and two. Ooh, the soundtrack, man, was good.
Yeah, no, dude, like the sound was fire, man.
Get
like,
Lil Jon,
Lil Jon. That was like,
oh man,
that was like cool in the world. But I mean, to just kind of come back to the game in and of itself, like I've played Gran Turismo before. I didn't play it as much as I probably should have to give it a fair shot. But honestly, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was a beautifully designed game. I mean, the last one I played, I don't know what it was called, but it was definitely on 360. It was a few years ago, back in 2012, 2011, and I can honestly say like it was one of the most realistic simulated driving games that I've ever played, you know, like, I mean, and it kind of does. It's the same thing, kind of like how you said, right, Asif? Like when you said, like you couldn't really turn the corners, like the game made you feel. It made you feel like you were an actual car, you know, like you had to keep checking your gas, you had to keep checking your levels, you know, your miles, you had to estimate like the amount of traction that you were going to have when you reached a certain speed, and then also like momentum, like. And basically how freaking hard it is, like, you know, in real life to actually, like actually drive and just in general, like it really emulated a lot of those things, and I hope that this one will be able to do that as well. I mean, I honestly, if the gameplay once they release it a little bit closer to release date is actually like does show a lot more of those real life aspects, I wouldn't mind trying it.
When is the release date?
That's a good question.
I think Gran Turismo, like that's one game where, because I don't do this in Need for Speed, but the first person views where you're seeing the steering wheel, that's one game where you actually want to have that view.
Yes, exactly.
Because without it, if you're seeing that aerial view of just a car, it's going to be really tough for you.
March 4th, 2022.
Okay, so it's in 2022. Okay, so it's not so far out like the other releases. But again, it's not something I'm ready to drop $70 or pre-order on. But,
well, I mean, and that really just goes for every game, right? I mean, like, you definitely want to take your time to, like, try out a game. If there's a demo available, you definitely want to download that, get on that. That's definitely what's helped me make informed decisions about video games, and that's definitely what I recommend for this one as well.
But I will admit that the adaptive triggers on the new PlayStation 5 controllers, I'm curious to see how they're going to implement that with Gran Turismo. Like, I don't know if you've ever driven a race car or, like, a stick shift, but, like, the steering wheel tends to drift a little bit, like, left and right. So if the PlayStation 5 controller can replicate that or emulate that, that would be cool to see. Or like if you're drifting and it's like bumpy, the controller feels bumpy. I mean, you saw Astro's Playroom, how realistic the feeling was.
Oh yeah.
So if it can incorporate those feels into Gran Turismo, I wouldn't mind trying it out, like maybe a demo of it. But I still don't think I'd pay $70 for it.
And yeah, again, that definitely just goes back into like preference and like your taste in games in general. I mean, I can definitely see them doing something interesting with the triggers, like you said. Definitely adapting the manual transmission controls into the actual game. I can definitely see them doing something like that incorporates the use of the triggers. So yeah, but it's definitely one of the ones to watch out for.
Yeah.
I mean, again, for me, it would probably be one that I would want to try out before buying.
Yeah.
That being said, there are other games that will probably be like, I'll trial by error, right? So I'll just I'll try it. If I don't like it, then I'll move on to something else.
Yep.
Star Wars being one of those things. I mean, personally, I'm a really big Star Wars fan, so I'll jump on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll just probably like, you know what, I'll try it. Because there are some games you just really just want to jump into. Like, and I know that most people would probably say, oh no, if there's a demo, you want to try the demo. But honestly, like, can you, like, if you want to hold, like, if you have time to find a demo. But I mean, honestly, some of us just want to jump into the game.
Yep.
Honestly,
Yep.
I mean,
demos are becoming more of a commodity nowadays. I barely see them anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't believe there were a lot of demos for a lot of the games that I play. I mean,
in PS3 they used to have multiplayer demos.
Yeah.
Those were
Yes.
great.
Yeah. Now, like, the game will release. 2 months later, the demo will come out.
yeah, that is pretty
Unusual.
They had the limited time.
Pretty weird.
ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And okay, what do you think about Forspoken? That's a Square Enix game.
Oh, dude, it looks cool.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know what? When I first saw it, I was like, because in the very beginning of the trailer, it takes place at home, and it reminded me of like, oh, it's gonna be one of those. What's it called? They do these other ones. It's like a story, like a point-and-click game. It's about the two girls. I can't remember.
Interactive?
Is it also by Square Enix?
Yeah, I think so. It's God, what's it called? I'll have to come back to it when I figure out the name of them. But it reminds you of that, which I never really cared for them. But once they introduced that they were going into, like, she was going into a fantasy world, and it looked crazy cool. Like, it looks so different.
Yep.
It reminds me of, like,
for me, it's like Horizon Zero Dawn fused with God of War.
Yeah.
The graphics, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's one thing Square Enix does right, even if they have a 13-year-old delayed release of a game that was highly anticipated and ended up being complete shit.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. But at least the graphics are great.
Well, I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, and we can get into this like at another point in time, or maybe another like session. But I mean,
that needs a whole other podcast.
That's a completely other conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I will say that there are both strong and weak points to Kingdom Hearts 3. But there were just, unfortunately, in this case, the bad outweighed the good. You know what I mean?
Yep. Exactly.
But no, I unfortunately have not been able to see the Forspoken trailer.
I've only seen images.
That wasn't one of the ones.
I didn't see the trailer.
I did see the trailer. I like the main character. She's likable. She seems like she has a likable personality.
Did they show gameplay or just like?
Yeah, they showed gameplay.
So it wasn't just cutscenes.
Let me go back real quick. It reminds me of the game I was talking about before. It's oh god, I just had it too.
I'm guessing it's from Square Enix.
Yeah, it's
not that many games pop out when I think Square Enix. The World Ends With You, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Nier Automata.
Oh, that's Square Enix?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is Square Enix.
Oh.
That's why the music's so good.
Oh, Life is Strange.
That.
It starts off like giving me that feeling of like, and
that's why I said interactive.
Yeah. So it reminded me of a lot of like that. But I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh crap, this is gonna not suck, but I'm not too excited for it. But yeah, it looks completely different. Like you said, it reminds you of God of War. I feel a little bit of Devil May Cry in there.
Dang.
Because the way she moves when she's fighting.
It
reminds me of like when you have the trickster style.
Yeah.
And you're like able to dodge and air hide.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I'm excited for it. I was not expecting this game at all. I thought it was going to be something completely different. But
Are we getting this 2022?
I don't know.
I'm not sure what the release date is.
If I can comment a little bit on what Leo just actually kind of brought up with that. So the Nier Automata, like the fighting style, right?
Yeah.
Like the animation that went into that, like the whole combat system. There is another game that was showcased in the PlayStation conferences, like the showcase, that you guys might have heard of. I actually watched the trailer yesterday. I was not disappointed. I'm really looking forward to see what they do, and it's brand new. Project Eve.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Dude. Now that game, let me tell you, that might be a day one for me.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
I definitely missed out on the chance to play Nier Automata, like when it first came out, right? So, but I definitely want to jump on this. Like Project Eve definitely looks like it's gonna be that next level of kind of like that mix of Devil May Cry style action, but then also that new element of new story, new character,
open world exploration.
Exactly.
I don't know, but it's Korean. It's not Japanese.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Wow.
I thought it was gonna be Chinese, but it's Korean, I think.
Okay.
Well, regardless of what it is,
But yeah, it's different,
Yeah.
Yeah, we look forward to like a lot of remakes and sequels and stuff, but that's a good new release, like a new original release.
Yeah.
By the way, the Forspoken release date, it doesn't have the release date, but the release year is 2022.
Oh yeah, that's all I'm looking for. 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. Not too far off.
Yeah, that's for was it Forspoken?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about Project Eve?
Project Eve.
Yeah, let's get into Project Eve since it was brought up. Might as well.
Yeah.
I was. You know what? When I first saw it, it does remind me of Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. She's a girl and it has those kind of sexual themes to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of remind me of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really cool. It looks really good. I like the design of the monsters. They're all like crazy looking.
Yeah.
It looks like a chainsaw head guy, and I mean, it looks good.
I just hope it doesn't because we had big hopes for games like Cyberpunk and Death Stranding. Remember that? Before they were released. We're like, oh man, Norman Reedus is in this, and like the story, the gameplay, and then when it came out, I don't even think it got 4 stars, let alone 5, or maybe not even 3.
They're like mild versions of Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, they're very underwhelming, to say the least. So I'm hoping, but again, this is a new generation, and Project Eve can, implement and utilize all the new features that the PS5 does have. So I think it'll do a better job.
Yeah.
For those of you that are interested, I'm sorry, Asim, go ahead.
By the way, Project Eve does not have a release date.
I was just about to say that.
It's not good. You shouldn't expect it in 2021 or even early 2022.
You know what? Take your time with it.
But it should definitely still be on your radar.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely recommend it.
I don't need a rushed release because we know how those turn out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't need a 13-year delayed release either.
Yep. Yeah.
Honestly, just drop the game, dude. Just drop the game. I mean, I remember when Drake was, I know this we're focusing on games during this podcast, but I mean, people kept saying just sending tweets to Drake, when he was dropping his album. What was it, a few years ago? He just kept releasing tracks. People were just drop the album, just drop the album.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes the same can be applied to video games as well.
Yeah.
Just drop the game. And I know the game you're referring to when you're when you're talking referring to the 13-year delay. So definitely.
That number 13 just so has so much to do with Kingdom Hearts, but it's also so unlucky for it.
Yep. And speaking of Drake, they're going to remaster the Uncharted games.
Oh.
Nathan Drake.
Nice.
And it's not only going to be on the PS5, but it's also going to be on PC.
Oh wow.
Whoa. Okay, that's big. Because that's always been an exclusive. But I think similar to Xbox, Sony's trying to branch out to other platformers to, increase its volume of sales and reach other players and outside of the PlayStation space.
Yeah. So
I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's great. I love Sony exclusives, and that's always going to be the heart of what Sony's about, what PlayStation's about. But I've always been a huge Uncharted fan. I just wish they made a newer one. I actually like Uncharted a lot better than The Last of Us. Just because the pacing is less depressing and it's just more action-packed and goofy. I do like The Last of Us, but Uncharted, I mean, the remaster is great, but I want a brand new one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad for the Uncharted remakes. Did you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I only played the 4th one, not the extra episode with that girl.
Oh.
You
didn't play
Lost Legacy?
Yeah, Lost Legacy, I didn't play that one.
That was good.
Yeah, but it was a good game. I mean, it was already a very pretty game, and it ran pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's nice, but I've already played it, so, for the most part.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to have for those who didn't play it. I don't know what else are they going to include in it. It's just 60 frames, but it's just the same PS4 game, I guess.
That's true, I guess, yeah. But new generation.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the appeal that just comes from Uncharted in and of itself is just the fact that it's one of those few games that really just takes the player and immerses them in the story. You know what I mean? Like from the very, even from like, what was the first game called? Just not Uncharted one. There was another like Drake's Fortune, was it?
That's the first one.
Yeah. So I mean, even from the beginning, you know, like players commented on this, just in the fact that it takes the player and just really puts them in the middle of the story. You know, it was one of the very first games.
You become the character.
Exactly, and then Naughty Dog is kind of started keeping up with the trend. You know, with the release of The Last of Us, and you know, like other games kind of like that as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great series. You know, I've never really, well, I mean, not never. I have played some Uncharted in the past. I mean, personally, I don't know if it's a game that I'll invest myself in. But it's definitely like, I mean, again, it's never been like there've never been games that have been disappointed as far as that franchise is concerned.
Oh yeah, definitely. Uncharted, it's just like when you're in a mission and you go inside some secret passageway and you outside the end of the tunnel, the camera pans out and it shows this beautiful like scenic view. Sometimes I don't even move on with the mission. I just kind of just bask in the moment. And I'm like, damn, like this looks so realistic. And like these places are based on like real world locations. They may not look exactly the same. They're like loosely based replicas, but like these deserted islands or like Galapagos or tropical areas or
they're given foreign names though, right? Like Shambhala, isn't that like a foreign?
I think that's made up, but
no. I mean, a lot of the history that
like
games are just like
Marco Polo.
Yeah.
You know, like and then the pirates. That's all real. The history is real, but it's like, you know, the treasure chests and you know, like having the superhuman powers. Obviously, that didn't, at least to my knowledge, it didn't exist. So. Yeah, but I mean, that's why I wouldn't mind seeing another one. Plus, I love Nolan North. He's a great voice actor. Yeah. He's lent his voice over for many different, various variety of games aside from Nathan Drake. But I feel like he's a signature voice for Nathan Drake. So I would, if it's going to be someone other than him, I wouldn't want it anyway.
Yeah, he's definitely iconic. All right, I'll try to ask this neutrally. But how would you feel about GTA 5 to the PS5?
I think it's
overdone.
It's overdone. I know they make a lot of money off of it, and that's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But it came out in the PS3.
Yeah.
That's crazy if you think about it.
It's too long. It's like 3 generations. Come on, man.
Yeah. Oh man, 2013. September 2013 is when it originally came out. And like, yeah, I think they made like the online free. And at one point, I think the game was free itself. But like, what are they really going? Why are you re-releasing it for like the 10th time? You know, like, just move on and make Grand Theft Auto 6.
They do that with Skyrim.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking when they did the Roman numeral like 5, like V, I thought they were gonna put an I after that.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Make that the big reveal.
Yeah, they should just hire you, man. That's crazy. Yeah, I never actually played too much of it. I just messed around. I mean, come on, who really goes linear with Grand Theft Auto, you know? Yeah. But I think the main reason for Grand Theft Auto 5's popularity is just the amount of mods, just like Skyrim. You can mod all day and just like use a rocket ship near space or something. You know, like the possibilities are endless. So no one actually cares for the expansion of the story of the game. It's more about the mods. But again, you can just revamp all of that into a brand new game in GTA 6 and maybe throw a Tesla in there.
Yeah, the mods really spoiled us. That's the thing. So any remake or remaster, just not really doing anything. Where's the other game? Oh, I remember. Alan Wake Remastered.
That was an Xbox 360 game.
It was a horror game, right? Or like
something like that.
Yeah.
But I looked at the trailer and it looks like the exact same.
Oh man!
Like, I don't see a lot of big improvements to the actual like models of the characters.
Okay.
Maybe it's just in 4K and 60 frames, but
I didn't care too much for the original. I couldn't get into it.
I don't even remember. It was like they spoke good things about it. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it was originally an Xbox one, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I would play it if someone gave it to me for free, but I don't think I'd go out and buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those games that's like, Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. Maybe. Nah, never mind. Yeah. I'm not gonna wait. There's better games out there, even in the horror genre. It's not even my top 5. But, again, I'm welcome to any new PlayStation 5 titles. I just want more of them.
Yeah. Did you have anything?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I think just because there is a certain amount of fandom behind Alan Wake, you know, I mean, it was on a lot of people's radar for a really long time, and I would actually say that about Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, I didn't play it personally. I'm not a really big Grand Theft Auto guy, but at the same time, you know, it's been the same thing with Skyrim. You know, like the reason these games keep getting called back is because there's quite frankly, there's still a substantial community behind each of these games. But in terms of like Alan Wake, that's probably not going to be like a day one for me either. I mean, just it was a great game when it first came out. But again, just with all the new content that's coming out, like just with everything that's still that's out there now, you know, there are newer games for the PS4, you know, for example, that are based on newer ideas than Alan Wake was. So I think, but I mean, the fact that is it Sony that's releasing this? Are they the developers behind it, or is it someone else?
I don't think it's Sony because I mean I would assume it's what was the original? Microsoft? Was it?
I don't know who the developer was.
Microsoft Studios.
The publisher was Microsoft. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't know the developers. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, yeah. Regardless, I mean, I think it's a really cool thing that they are actually including it in the PS5. Just for the fans that may not have a chance, not had a chance to play it in the past, and just are able to port it over now and just play it now. So
yeah.
Is it Remedy maybe? Is that?
Oh, it might be. Yeah, they're a big one. It might be.
Could be that. Okay, now time to get to one of the big stuff. Wolverine. What'd you think about that?
Man,
we didn't see much of it.
Very unexpected. And the fact that it's from Insomniac.
I definitely have to. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, Insomniac. I mean,
they've outdone themselves, man.
Yeah.
First, unbelievable Spider-Man game.
Oh, you Spyro?
Huh? And then after that, they had Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yeah.
That's also great. And now you're telling me they have Wolverine too?
Yeah.
Like, that is wild.
I want to see just a little bit more of that, man.
A little bit more of what?
The Wolverine.
Oh, yeah. One of my friends said that it'd be nice if they just did a whole out X-Men game. And he's hoping that this is a gateway to that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. They could add DLC maybe, you know.
I could definitely see that happening. Just in terms of like what the game is in and of itself, like just like releasing it and just being able to kind of just build on that. However, to start off in that path, like like leading towards the X-Men. I mean, Wolverine was definitely the character to go with.
When I was little, I thought he was called the X-Men. When I was like 5 years old, because I don't know, he would slash with his claws and make an X, and like his mask from the '90s had a little X on top. So I thought he was the X-Men. So yeah, he's definitely the symbol of the X-Men.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but we don't know yet of what his costume or everything's going to entail.
I mean, having a Cyclops game would also be kind of cool, but at the same time, I mean, I've always been a Wolverine kind of just fan in general.
That's the thing. I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, just coming back to your point about Insomniac developing it. They did such a great job with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Miles Morales, back almost a year ago now. So I can't wait to see what they do with Wolverine, just in terms of like his story and just the whole elements of just like the entire game in general.
I think that
it's probably gonna be ready to mature though.
Oh yeah. Well, I think now I understand why they didn't go with X-Men, because there's just too many of them.
Yeah.
Way too many. Like, and that if you're talking about just the Xavier, Professor X's X-Men, even that's like an abundant amount. But then you stretch out to like the Brotherhood and Magneto's squad and like the ancient X-Men. There's so many of them that like it'll never stop. It'll be like the next Skyrim or something, or like DC Universe Online. So it'll be a ways out until we get to that point. And the game size of the game, I can't imagine. It'll probably take up the whole hard drive of the PS5.
Yeah. Even the expandable.
Yeah, exactly.
Once that comes out.
But I'm open to it. like I said, Insomniac. I played that Spider-Man game like multiple times. I think 3 or 4 playthroughs. Platinumed it. Same thing with Miles, and I still can't get enough of it. I love that game, and Insomniac is a big reason for that. Because the last game that they did so well was probably Spider-Man 2, I think, for the PS2.
The movie one,
Or
right?
PS3. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, it was like movie based or something like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, do you think Hugh Jackman will have any contribution to this game at all?
I imagine he'll comment on it, but I'm not really sure if they'll.
You don't think he'll lend his voice or anything? Like
Well, no, I mean, he might. They make. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he's really like serious about it, I mean, I would say so. But I think Hugh Jackman is kind of like he's decided to kind of step away from that character. I mean, a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made his money and he's happy, you know.
But you could hope, right? I mean, it would be awesome if you did.
There was someone else being portrayed to be the next Wolverine. Who was this? The actor.
Well, there's been quite a few. There've been quite a few. There hasn't been just one. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation that. I mean,
I think he would be good for voicing his, sending out his voice.
I'm curious to see how they actually make Wolverine like move around in the city. He's not like Spider-Man where he's like
Swinging
jumping
around.
around.
He'd
Yeah.
probably be in a motorcycle, maybe.
That
Something.
or maybe like I don't know. Like
I
I know
hope-
he can climb.
I hope they do it like with God of War where you see you're behind. You know, he's third person,
Yeah, third person.
and you're just watching him walk and punch people. You know, I think that would work better than him. You know, flinging it around.
Freelancing. Yeah.
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 I think with his, it'll be more of a linear story.
Will it be in the city though? Did it say
It took the trailer was in a bar, so I'm assuming.
Oh, okay.
Maybe before he met Xavier.
Yeah, because he was always like a westernized, like chilling out in the Wild Wild West kind of guy.
That's such an interesting choice, though. I mean,
Yeah, Wolverine. They're going with the popular characters, obviously.
I remember watching an interview like a long time ago when Insomniac was given the chance to work on a Marvel game. They automatically picked Spider-Man.
Of course, he's the most popular one.
Yeah, but now I'm assuming Marvel gave him like, hey, who else do you want? And they picked Wolverine, and I hope they do him justice.
Yeah.
He's such a cool character.
Yeah, I like him. The only other one I would want having his own solo game, I think would be really cool, is Deadpool.
That would be awesome.
That would be dope.
There have been Deadpool games.
Yeah, they've done that for the PS3. There's
I mean,
been an
through
actual
Insomniac.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I-
Insomniac does it right.
I think for
Yeah.
me, I would like to see. I like to see Blade.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting choice.
I think that'd be very cool, like, almost like Resident Evil sort of, vibe.
Would you want Wesley Snipes voicing him,
God no.
or modeling his model, like the face model? After
No, I think they could pick somebody else.
Okay.
Going back to the next Wolverine, Daniel Radcliffe is one of the biggest rumors.
What?
Daniel
How?
Radcliffe.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the
No,
height
man.
requirement,
I can't
eh?
see
It's got to be a mid-40s guy.
That's almost as bad as Tom Holland being Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And yet, we have an Uncharted movie with Tom Holland.
If it's a young Nathan Drake, I'll give him the pass. But
Mhm.
if it's present day, what are you guys doing, man?
Yeah, he's gotta be a scruffy guy.
His voice, his ruggedness, and nothing matches.
Dude, they should have the voice actor from X-Men Evolution.
Yes, Wolverine.
yeah.
the one that says Bob.
Yeah.
he's really good. I don't know his name, but he's really good.
I like him better than the 90s one.
Yeah, me too. He was too raspy.
Yeah.
He sounded like Cell from DBZ.
Another big choice is John Bernthal.
No, him, I
Oh.
can definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be really
He was the
cool.
Punisher. He was Shane. He's got it.
him?
Yeah.
Yo, have you heard his Punisher voice?
No, but he's just a weird-looking guy to me.
He sounds like raspy like this when he
Yeah.
talks. But then when you hear him in an interview, it's like, hey guys, what's up? He sounds like Goku.
Yeah.
So that's when you know, like, yeah, this guy's good. He's legit. But,
Well, I mean, again, we haven't seen the movie, right? I mean, we don't know, like, maybe Tom Holland could do a better job than we were thinking. I mean, we'll see.
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people had a lot of doubts when they first announced that, Ben Affleck was going to be Batman. And, I mean, he actually did a pretty he did a good job.
I think he did a good Bruce Wayne.
He did a good, yeah.
But going back to Wolverine,
Definitely.
I think I'm expecting good things. High expectations, not to put Insomniac under pressure or anything like that. But again, just like I said with Project Eve, take your time with it. No rush. I mean, we waited this long. Perfect it. Any minor bugs you think that might ruin the experience for players, just iron them out. We can wait a few more months, and then we'll have the full experience. Because that's what I had with Spider-Man in 2018, and it was a joy. I still play that game to this day.
I think just one of the things that I really liked about Spider-Man is just the fact that no one thought it was, or I mean, at least I didn't think that it was going to be what it became. You know?
Nobody
I mean,
did.
It was
I didn't think
like
so either.
you saw another Spider-Man game on the shelf, and I mean, we all know that it's been done to death before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's been probably like 4 Spider-Man games in and of itself, like just been released based on the character. So you think like this is just another addition to those, right?
Yep.
But then you play it, and it's like nothing you thought that it would be.
Exactly.
And it's just, it was an amazing game. So, I mean, if they could even do something even somewhat related to the first Spider-Man game with Wolverine, I think it'd be a great start, and definitely the start of a new video game franchise for
I think it should be an Origins game. Because Spider-Man wasn't. We were already introduced to Spider-Man in the Insomniac game, the adaptation. We already knew he's Peter Parker. We already knew, Uncle Ben's dead. We already knew that, all the tragic events that he went through. So we were already introduced, kind of like the Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man. We already went through that. We weren't being introduced. That wasn't an Origins game. But for Wolverine, I feel like he needs to be introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we saw him.
Yeah,
last.
you can't just jump into it.
Yeah,
Spider-Man's always around.
Yep.
Wolverine's like, who's that guy again? I mean, not to like hardcore fans like us, but like to those people who are like, wait, I forgot, how did he get his claws? Everyone and their mother knows how Spider-Man got bit, and that Uncle Ben has died hundreds of times. We don't need to know that. But with Wolverine, it's nice to have a little refresher.
Yeah. So the next big reveal that there was I said was twice. God of War Ragnarok.
Oh man. So playing the God of War games growing up, I played all 3. Well, there's more than 3, but I played the first original 3 on PS2, and then I think I played the one on PSP, PSP, and then I played the latest PS4 Pro one. They're all great. I never cared for Kratos as a character. He's too hot-headed, too angry, too serious. But the game, it has this magnetic pull to it, where you're learning about Greek mythology in a way that's so twisted, with Kratos starting this war against the Greek gods, he wasn't even a god himself. He took the throne of God of War by killing Ares.
Or you're talking about the original trilogy?
Yeah. And I'm relating it to the first 3. I played it for the game, not for him.
Yeah.
But then this latest one, PS4 Pro, it fast forwards to Norse mythology. Yeah. And now he has a son, and they live in the woods, and he's just more mellowed out. Yeah. And that favorite line of his, saying "boy."
I was gonna comment on that. Just like they had, I mean, so long as we can get Christopher Judge to say that again, just
read
as
Kratos,
read it, boy.
Yeah.
I mean that's a selling point for me. I'm just like, that's enough. Like, here, take my money. I'm
exactly. But I like that.
The game's just gravy.
How Leo was saying that Wolverine should be incorporated in that third-person view that God of War is. That's one thing I liked a lot better about the PS4 one. I don't know if you guys played it, but the older God of War games were like an aerial view at times. The camera would constantly pan out. If Kratos is climbing like a ladder, trying to get to the top of something, it'll start zooming out to the top, so you have like an aerial view overhead, and it kind of became like a one of those arcade shooter games at that point.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Yeah, and I'm like, I want to zoom in and see what's going on. With this latest God of War, we get that. We get that third person perspective, and it's just different. He's no longer jumping around and stuff. It's just more realistic, as realistic as a game like that could be. So based on that, this new God of War, I'm sure it's going to just add on to that intensity, that greatness. But the one thing that I was kind of hung up about in the first God of War is that I kept hearing throughout the whole game, Kratos explaining to his son, Atreus, that, Odin and Thor, they own this whole world. We're all, they're all his children, and then Thor's brothers and stuff. And I'm like, man, this is going to be an epic showdown. Not only did we didn't get to fight Odin or see him, we didn't get to fight Thor or see him either. And this is like a 3-year-old game now, so you see Thor at the end as a secret ending. He arrives at Kratos' house. Kratos says, "Who are you?" And you just see a bunch of rain, thunder, lightning just striking at his house. But then it just ends. And that got me hyped. I'm like, okay, so a sequel's coming. Or maybe DLC. So in this one, we better be able to fight Thor. Like, he better be the final boss. Otherwise, I'm already giving it like 5 out of 10.
He's actually inside like the code. They have like a render of him in the new God of War.
They do actually. They've
damn.
since released a
picture, right?
of him. Yeah,
Yeah, he's fat.
of some of the characters.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
is. He is on the more portly side.
I think he's
of this.
normally
He
like
looks
that.
very similar
Like
to
a
the
Valkyrie.
Endgame Thor.
Yes.
And-
Which I gotta say, that's probably like a nod at Marvel.
Yeah.
Because they're using Thor, and I mean, Thor is like a legacy character in Marvel. So I
Yeah.
mean, just
And that's actually how he looks in Norse mythology.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And his helmet and everything. So I don't know. Have you guys played God of War, the latest one, or any of them?
I played the first two, and I beat them. I didn't play the third one, but I didn't really care for the older fighting system. But I never played the new one either. I just never had a chance to play it.
well, the
But it
other
looks
one
better.
is like more hack and slash though. Right?
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
older one as
Yeah.
opposed to the new one where there's like it's like more strategy based first person gameplay. I mean, you have to think about how to just defeat your your opponents as opposed to just like slashing them with the
Yeah.
chaos blades or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also the first, the older games, there was not a lot of story. I mean, there was only like a few scenes, and you kill the God of War, and that's it.
Yeah,
Throughout the whole thing, you're just screaming, angry, and
yeah.
so these new ones I like because there's more of a story to it. They're more cinematic. But again, I haven't played it, but I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah, it definitely you gotta play it.
Yeah, so I'm excited for it. I'm gonna go back and play the first one first before I do this one.
That's a good idea. Have you played the God of War?
It's on my.
On your
Unfortunately,
bucket
like it's one of those games that's on my backlog, but it's definitely something that I want to get to, especially now since the announcement of the second one. I mean, again, it's one of those games that just for me personally, like you want to play. I just unfortunately haven't had the time to kind of really sink my teeth into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, just with the mention of the second one, like I already know I'm probably going to be getting the second one, just based on the continuation of the story. And if you watch the trailer, like I've seen the story for the God of War God of War 4. So I mean number 5, it's I know that they're going to keep building on that story, and I know they're going to do a great job. I mean they did it before, so.
Do you know what the release date is for this?
The release date.
I think they said 2022, right, for God of War?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure it's next year.
Let me double. Yep, 2022.
Okay, so I was gonna say, if you guys really want, since you don't have a PS5, when you manage to get one, I would play the PS5 version of the first God of War, not the very first, like the PS4 version one.
Yeah.
Because it's in 4K 60 frames, and it just looks absolutely magnificent. You don't have to wait. Like load times are super fast. It's just a better experience.
Right.
So if you get it next year, the PS5, play that first one first, and then the second one will be out, and you don't have to wait as long. Whereas people who played it 3 years ago, like me, I've had to wait almost 4 years for this thing to come out. Actually, it will be 4 years in 2022. Yep, 4 years. That's crazy.
For the PS4 God of War.
For the sequel of God of War.
Yeah,
PS4
that's
God of
true.
War,
That
yeah.
came out in 2018.
It has a name. What's it called? Ragnarok.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
second one's gonna
Ragnarok,
be called.
yeah.
Right? But the
So-
first one just called
God of War. Yeah.
All right, now for the biggest reveal of all in the PlayStation Showcase: Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. What do you
Oh,
think
man.
about that? No, I'm just kidding. Fuck that. Of course, Spider-Man.
Man, I screamed like a little schoolgirl when I saw not just Spider-Man 2 because I knew that was coming, but Venom. Like it was just a rumor at the time when they were just showcasing it last year. They're like, I remember they were talking about Spider-Man 2 when Miles was being made, and they were like, the first thing I noticed is they're gonna expand the New York map out. I'm from New York. I was born there. I go there every now and then. And the map that they made in the Insomniac game it's modeled down to a T from what New York is actually landscaped to be.
Yeah.
Like the distance between like Madison Square to the Washington Bridge or the Brooklyn Bridge or Central Park or Empire State Building, or even the One World Trade Center. The only thing that's fabricated in there is the Avengers Tower. But that whole entire map of New York, Manhattan, is completely detailed, down to like every street name. And they even paid homage to Chadwick Boseman and changed 42nd Street to Boseman Way. I believe that was in the Miles game. Yeah. So expanding on that, aside from just the amazing reveal of Venom being in the game, which I am so hyped for, just the fact that they're expanding from Manhattan to Queens, because New York City is a huge city. Yeah. So the fact that they're adding Queens, which is where Peter's actually from. He's not from Manhattan. He's not from where like Times Square or Empire State Building, that area from the bridge. He's from Queens. Queens is a more suburban borough, and they're adding that map to the game for Spider-Man 2, and I just feel that that's a beautiful thing to do, because it's going to be even more world to explore. Yeah. So it's weird for me to say, because you're thinking like, oh man, I want more boss battles and stuff. I want more world to explore. I was born in Queens, so I can go visit Queens Hospital with Spider-Man in the game and be like, yo, I was born there. So it's just cool to say. Yeah. That's one of the things I'm super hyped about. Obviously, not much else was revealed except Venom's gruesome voice. Yeah, and
dude, I freaking jumped when I saw Venom.
Me too, man. Yeah, and the fact that Miles and Peter will be in this.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to switch off between the two. Yeah. And I'm assuming the final showdown will have to be both of them. And who knows? Carnage might pop up. I'm just, man. 2023 is too damn long.
Yeah, man. That's the only thing I don't like about it, man. Why 2023?
At least we're getting the movie this year, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So that'll hold us over for a bit.
I mean, in all honesty, I'm just really... Now, you mentioned something about looking forward to boss battles. Now, we already know those boss battles are probably going to be, amazing, just in terms of, quality and experience for the player. Personally, for me, I really, really hope that the characters can experience more growth in this game as well. I'm a story kind of guy. That's what perhaps need for the video games. I mean, the gameplay in and of itself is just I love that too. However, if a story isn't there, it makes it hard for the gameplay to kind of be engaging. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And with this game, it really just seems like they're definitely going to push Peter and definitely going to push Miles, grow. And now they're both in the same game. Yeah. So it's not just a focus on one; it's a focus on them both. Yeah. Whether that'll be equal split, equally screen time and whatnot, we don't know that yet. But then again, so long as the story revolves around that and really helps these characters grow and develop, from what we knew in the very in the very first game, Peter had to make some tough choices in Spider-Man 1 when it came out a few years ago, and then we saw Miles lose his best friend in his game actually almost a year ago now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to see them both together, facing off against one of the big, if not the biggest, villain to Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's like an arch nemesis.
Arch nemesis. You think of Venom, you think of Carnage, but I mean Venom just the word in and of itself. I mean, the guy's getting a movie in a couple of weeks, right? I mean,
Tom Hardy.
So I'm really looking forward to see where they take us. I hope that it has as much of an effect as the first one, if not a stronger effect. Because that's really what makes these games memorable for me. I mean, the open world setting, that's beautiful and all, but I mean, what's really gonna make me remember it is definitely the story, and I hope they push the envelope with that.
I think that actually I've heard speculation from some developers that although God of War and I believe one of the other games will also be available on PS4, unfortunately Spider-Man 2 will only be available on the PS5. And that just makes it even more attractive to me.
Well, I think with the release date of 2023,
by then,
hopefully what would hope, right? I mean, fingers crossed, guys, that we get enough, enough circulation with the PS5s that hopefully everyone is able to afford it in more quantities and buy it. I don't know about you. I'm not paying $800 for a PS5.
Right.
I want a PS5, but honestly, but just to further add to that point, I think it's justified in and of its sense, because when you play that game, you obviously want to play it in the best way possible, right? In the way that's going to give you the most performance, the best quality gaming experience, and that's definitely something that can justify the exclusivity of the PS5 with this game.
I think the reason is because they're doing it PS5 only is because one of the biggest features of the PS5 is called ray tracing. What that is just a better lighting reflections.
See, I would know that, Asif. I don't have a PS5.
Well, it's also in GPUs, like the latest GPUs in the market. Ray tracing is all the new. It's all the new trend, and it just produces more realistic lighting and shadows. And Miles, I can take it from me. It looks incredible on the PS5, and I got Miles the deluxe edition, so it also provided Spider-Man 1 for the PS4, upgraded to the PS5 version. So super fast load times. Amazing lighting reflections, 4K 60 frames. And you know how in Spider-Man 1, when you're fast traveling, you have those train scenes where he's just like chilling with people? So you don't have to have that in these newest games, because the load speeds are so fast for the PS5 that you don't need there to be a scene in between, like loading, please wait. No, you don't need that for the PS5. So adding all of that into this new Spider-Man 2 game, plus having an epic story with Venom, Miles, Peter, who else? Who knows who else is going to pop up? You know? Maybe we'll see Spider-Gwen. You never know. I'm super stoked. Take my money. That's something I'll pay $70 for sure.
Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm not as excited as you guys. I didn't play the first one all the way. I lost my save file, so I stopped at after finding out.
Sinister Six.
Spoiler alert. Doc Ock is the main villain, I guess. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I have to go back and play it and kind of recapture some of the magic, I guess, like you guys.
I mean, in that sense, I kind of wish that I was you, because you actually get to experience all of the parts of Spider-Man for the first time. And let me tell you, just replaying it, I mean, it's still like an awesome game that has like obviously like a lot of replay value, like replayability. However, like there's nothing like really looking at it like for the first time, playing it the first time. It's awesome.
Just swinging through those buildings, it feels like you are Spider-Man. You can feel the wind gushing through you.
So I think I'll be more excited as time goes on. I know when Miles came out, I thought that was really like exciting, and I wanted to play it. But I was like, oh man, I have to play the first one.
Yeah, I would definitely say play the first one.
I feel like with Miles, it's
a short game. So
it's a short game.
Yeah, it's like a 1.5.
Yeah, no, it's not that. I find it more interesting to me. I feel like
it is. You can skip through
Peter's cool. Peter's cool. He's a cool character, but I just don't care to learn more about him because we've learned so much about Peter over the years.
He is the OG, though. You got to put respect on him.
Yeah, no, of course. It's like Goku will never get replaced by Gohan.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially now, but it's
another podcast. This is
another podcast. Yeah. R.I.P. Gohan. But I just wanted. I just didn't care. Like I was playing it. It's good. It's fun, but it's not interesting to me, I guess. So when I saw Miles, like, oh, this is kind of cool. After watching the Spider-Verse movie. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to know more about this guy. So that's why it grabs me more than it did Peter. But I know that in the first game you play as Miles in some sections, so I got to know him a little bit, and that was cool. And so when this game came out, I was like, oh man, I really want to play it because his powers are different. He looks cool as hell. But I think once I play all of them, I think I'll be in the same boat as you guys.
Well,
that's fair.
Well, just to add to that, and for all the Miles Morales fans out there, guys, just to let you know, he is in the MCU. Watch the deleted scenes for Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, and you hear his name being dropped by his uncle
Davis. Yep.
Uncle Davis.
Who was played by none other than Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino.
Just want to let you guys know.
Yeah, I think that was a nice Easter egg, if it was supposed to be one. But Leo, I know that Alexis said that it's important for him that the story is good, and that's very, very important to me too. It's one of my pillars of a great video game. Like if it has a shitty story, but the gameplay is like amazing, I still won't want to finish it the entire way through. So Spider-Man had me hooked. The story is great. I don't know if you know the ending of Spider-Man 1.
No, I don't.
Okay, that's good. I'm surprised
good, yeah.
you avoided it. It's been out for 3 years, and you avoid it. That's good.
I don't actively look up stuff for it.
Yeah, but like it just pops up sometimes, you know.
It does.
Like, especially on YouTube.
Like on YouTube suggestions.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
So it's good that you're able to avoid that, but I don't know if you care about story more than gameplay or gameplay more than story, but this game has both. Both of them do. I would highly encourage you to replay it.
Yeah.
Even if it's on the PS4, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I'll probably end up replaying it again, but I'm looking forward to the new one. Yeah, I always like Venom. I think he's one of the better villains for Spider-Man, especially when
Definitely.
he takes them over in the suit. Makes him face himself a little bit.
The
So that's
symbiote,
always
yeah.
cool. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping one of them gets like the black suit, and it causes that friction between both of them. That'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will, because I mean, if you look at the logo for the new Spider-Man game, it has the Venom spider.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to see it there. But guys, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's gonna be hard to top the Sinister Six, just like as bad guys, because I mean, Venom is in of itself like he has a presence, but then I don't know. It's gonna be. It is. I know they're gonna do a great job, but again, they're not gonna have to bring out the big guns.
And if you really think about it, one of the actual real arch nemesis of Spider-Man was missing in the first game and in Miles.
Green Goblin?
No, Wilson Fisk, Kingpin.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
He was there in the. I mean, you played the beginning. You captured him the first like 1 or 2 missions, and he stays incarcerated the whole time. So Doc Ock becomes the villain. So Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, is his main nemesis throughout the cartoon and the comics. He's one of the shared villains between Daredevil and Spider-Man. So I'm hoping we see him too. Maybe him and Venom team up, because Kingpin to me is like the Marvel version of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He's not so. I mean, he has brute strength, but he's not so much about physical power or prowess.
Political
Yeah,
power.
political and just twisting things. Well, I guess that is political. So, yeah, I mean, this game better be like 20 hours long, and it better have like DLC, and they better take my money for it.
Yeah, for sure. Finally, just looking at the big picture, your overall take of the PlayStation Showcase this year.
I thought it was great. It's a lot of new games that we weren't expecting. I mean, there were some that we have already seen, but I'm always happy to see new games that we haven't heard of and new IPs, and that's always a good thing. So I was really happy to see that. I know there was like Grand Theft Auto 5, which is probably the lowest point of the thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got like the new Wolverine, you got that Square Enix game, that Project Eve.
Yeah, I guess Gran Turismo fans will be happy.
Yeah, so there were some returning titles, and then there's some really good ones that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I do like that. It's a blend of like sequels or remakes and original ideas, all combined into one, and they're all good. You're not just waiting to hear the remake. It's like, all right, man, forget about this game. I just want to hear about the remake or the sequel. Like every one of them was enticing.
Yeah, it's like going to a movie and watching the previews, and every single preview being a banger.
Yeah.
And not being like, oh man, just get to the movie already.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt at the showcase. I was like, wow, like hit after hit after hit. And people were like, I was starting to hear a lot of skepticism among friends and on like online communities, like, you know what, I could deal without a PS5 for now, because like there's no good games and who knows how long it'll take. Well, you got your due dates now.
Yeah. And
it's coming up soon. We're already in Q4 of 2021 with less than 4 months to go to the end of the year. 2022 is going to creep up on us, and then you got God of War, and what's the other game coming out? The first one we talked about, the Square Enix one?
For something?
I already forgot the name.
Forspoken.
Okay, and that's coming out. We don't know the exact date, but it's 2022. We already got those two coming out, and then Spider-Man 2. Is Wolverine slated for 2023?
Wolverine, I believe, is still in development.
Okay. So man, 2023, that will be, if you guys, like not you specifically, but you guys, everyone listening to the podcast or whoever, doesn't have a PS5 by then, like that's when I would be like, I feel for you. Right now, it's fine. Like right now there's not too much to sulk about. But once 2023 hits, ooh man, I'm hoping that the shortage ends by then so that we can actually enjoy these together.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they have like online capabilities. So like, you know, if I want to square up with Peter as Miles with my friend, I can do so. You know, kind of like a Marvel versus Capcom thing.
Yeah. Or some co-op maybe.
Yeah. Oh man, co-op missions would be awesome.
That'd be great.
No complaints. I mean, just in general, like the Sony showcase was like everything and more, right? I mean, they definitely brought their best, in my opinion. 2023 is definitely going to be the year to look out for, guys. I mean, some of these games we want to play now, right? We want to see more of them now. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be something to look forward to. I mean, again, there is the whole issue of like the lack of the PlayStation 5 and in general, like populations and just in general, right? I mean, but again, you never know what could happen. You know, hopefully we'll be able to kind of like reach a little bit of a better period in time where, you know, it will be readily available.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping so that Sony can really, you know, build on some of these new titles. 'Cause, I mean, it would be a big shame, you know, like if some of these titles were to like, you know, miss their window of opportunity when it comes to being merged out just because people don't have access to a PS5.
Yeah.
So, and again, I am one of those people, so I feel for you guys. So, but there's no issue. There's like nothing wrong with waiting for one, but again, it just makes you really want one even more, right? I mean, definitely.
I mean, the PS4 Pro, I think Sony's already thinking of discontinuing it, making it end of life maybe in a year, and end of next year.
Mm-hmm.
So if they discontinue the PS4, they're gonna have to get more PS5s in stock. You know
Definitely.
Yeah, if they don't, they're gonna lose money like crazy.
Yeah, the bottom line is definitely going to be affected, especially in terms of the games that they're producing.
But the bottom line, one final question for me is: do you guys think the PS5 is worth the scalping prices? As good as it is.
No.
I have one, and I would say no.
I have one too, and I agree.
Right now,
nope.
There's no really good games for it. There's some good games, but a lot of them are PS4 like
ports.
Ports. Yeah, so that's why I haven't bought one yet, because there aren't any games that I really want to go out and buy one for.
Dude, you haven't bought one because it's hard to get.
One, yeah.
No, if I really wanted to get one, dude, I would.
Oh, you mean like pay the price, like scalping price?
No, I mean like I'm talking about like trying to get one, saying
like online and stuff.
3 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, like actually try to get one.
Yeah, I understand there's a shortage, but I'm not actively staying up at 3 in the morning looking for a PS5. So,
but I mean that's the thing, though, right? I mean, people are paying the scalping prices, and they're willingly getting ripped off because they want to be able to play this. Guys, please save your rent money. Don't spend like your hard-earned dollars on the scalping price. Just be patient. Please wait. There will be one available.
Yep. You're gonna regret paying that extra $200. That extra $200 is like 2-3 games. It's like Spider-Man, Wolverine, Project Thieves.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you can. I mean, in all honesty, like I waited personally for me. Like I waited years after the PS4 was released to actually buy my own, so I could really get a really good experience in terms of what the content was. Now that being said, I haven't played God of War yet. I know that's probably one that I'm going to get commented on, but that's definitely the same time. I don't regret waiting.
At least you played Kingdom Hearts 3.
That is true. Well, is that really something you want to bring up, though?
I brought it up 3 times.
You have, huh?
Kingdom Hearts
Did you
3
do that on
times.
purpose?
Kingdom Hearts 3 times. I mean, yeah, like we mentioned in the podcast last week, this is my first console ever that I'm getting at launch, that I got at launch. Yeah. And it was a gift from my wife. And for you, Asim, you were just lucky enough to cop one off Sony's website directly. So that was we were just lucky, super lucky. So like you, Alexis, I've waited 2-3 years after launch to get my consoles. PS2, PS3, and PS4 were 2-3 years after, and some of them, the PS3, I got off of eBay and it was used. So this is the first time I'm getting at launch. People were a little cautious. They were like, first generation consoles usually aren't good. They have a lot of issues. They overheat. But this one, absolutely no issues at all. They really hit the nail on this one, and it's only going to get better from here. Only thing that needs to get even more better is the shortage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's really the issue.
Yeah, that's the issue. Well, that's our scoop of the PlayStation showcase, and this scoop was not done with an ice cream scoop, but with a spoon.